watching a lot of video in YouTube, everybody says, hey guys. I need to say something else other than hey guys. But anyway, that's just me. So, this is my next project. I'm going to help. Can somebody please help a drummer? Seems drummers always needing help one way or another. You know, there's lots of drummer jokes. Like, what do you call a guy that hangs out with musicians? A drummer. There you go. But anyway, so it's a friend of my sister's, how this came about. A friend of my sister's on Facebook, ex-teacher. Yeah. And he happens to be a drummer. He tweeted out on Facebook. He binged out on a Google of tweeting out on Facebook, I guess. So he had a replacement part for his chair, and it came up bad. And instead of sending it back, because that's a problem, because they'd probably send him the wrong part again, because they thought they sent him the right part in the first place, he asked if anybody knew anybody could 3D print something, because he thinks these 3D printers are just used for figurines and other things like this that actually have no useful kind of value, and besides, that's a really bad print. But anyway, things like that. So he says, how about my brother? My sister does. He contacted me. We talked about it back and forth, and he told me what his problem with. So here's the deal. This, if you put it all together, goes into here like this, makes a chair drummer sits on. It has a pneumatic pole. So as you change the pneumatic pole, it extends or goes in, goes out, that sort of thing. The problem is, I've got it stuck now. Well, now I've got it all stuck up, but that doesn't matter. Now I'll figure out what that is. Oh, maybe I do this. I'll get it back in at some point. I need to put some more weight on it, I assume. But anyway, but the problem is, the seals on here work just fine as long as everything's static. But this is probably useful for some other thing at some point. But what happens is, when it's all put together, he's sitting on it and doing the drummer thing, the things that drummers do, bouncing around. It wobbles this just enough where it loses the pneumatic pressure on here, and it sinks down lower and lower and lower. And I don't know if you've ever been a drummer. I know a few, and they really like their things to remain the same, so when they go to hit a drum or a cymbal or a hi-hat, it's always in the same place, and they got muscle memory to make that work. The problem is, when you keep changing things up and down, you keep having to worry about your seat, you're worrying about other things in the music, and that leads to a problem. So the part they sent him was this. I am not going to hit this, because then I've got to worry about getting it out of the back. And then, like, if you look at these things, they look very, very similar. The problem is, you go to install this, and it doesn't fit. And it doesn't fit in a, like, well, just beat it to match, right? Paint it to fit, paint it to match, beat it to fit. You know, the way the government does things. Well, the problem is, you don't want to do that with this, because you'll tear it up. You need a good fit, and this is why they put this bushing in here. So we've got this apart. So what happens is, let me pull this out. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Come on. There you go. Pull this out, and it's just a bushing. So what we have, you guys looking at it, flat surface with a hole in it. Got a couple extra holes that match up to some holes here, so that I believe you just so you can screw these in and things don't move so much on you. Actually, they go right here. And also, those screws also secure this cylinder here, so it doesn't move up and down. So what really needs to happen is this hole needs to be bigger, period. I've got a pretty good model. I've got some ridges on the side here, and if you guys didn't see this, but as I'm pulling this out, the ridges are actually destroying themselves slightly as I pull it in and out, because this is a very, very sharp edge here, or can be a sharp, yeah, there's a couple of sharp edges on that, and which is okay. And I believe the way they designed this is they meant these to be sacrificial, so that would eventually wear down and also save them some plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him a bigger hole. Basically, this rod here is about 26 millimeters in diameter. This rod here is about 28 millimeters in diameter. And this hole is 26. So, or thereabouts. When I say thereabouts, put some calipers on it. It's got some decimal points on it, but that doesn't matter at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this up so I get the height right. I'm going to measure the outside. I'm going to measure the inside. I'm going to make the inside diameter a couple of more millimeters larger, so this will fit in fine. And then I'm going to, there's a couple of other details here. One of them, if you look, I don't know if you can see you can see kind of close. See if I can get it in focus. There's some slots cut into this thing, and I'm not sure whether they're needed for the structural part of it, or to give a strain relief, or to be able to remove the part from the injection molding process to be able to get a release on that well. And so we'll see what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to be using Fusion 360, and we're going to cut this up. We're going to extrude this out, and then we'll see if we can't do some cuts to replicate this fairly easily. I say fairly easily. Never done that before. Best way to learn how to do something, have a project that needs you to do it, and then learn how to do it. So, and then once I do that, I'll print it off. We'll get a time lapse going, and we'll see what ends up working on this thing. And every time I do this, I've got to record this stuff anyway. So I'm going to just live stream it up. So if you catch it up there, you want to catch a live stream every now and then to see, you want to leave me some comments to say, hey, this is how you should be fixing that. That's fine. In fact, I'll take all those comments, and we'll see what happens on this. And when I get it all fixed up, everything you have, everything I've got, the model, everything will be up on Thingiverse, that sort of thing, usual stuff. Anyway, as always, if it's from my failures or your successes, I hope you learn something every day. Let me say it one more time. Anyway, if it's from my failures or your successes, I hope you learn something every day.